Boston Music Award winners SkyTigers are masters of the pun. Their new record, Yule Orgy, will eventually be released on Sound Investment Records. In the meantime, a very special and limited edition run this Friday, May 1st, via their Bandcamp. We chatted from our respective homes around Massachusetts. Do enjoy. Everybody, welcome aboard. Well, I wanted to check in with you guys. I know that we can't play or see any shows whatsoever, but you've been busy in the meantime. You've been writing and recording. When were you through recording this record? Probably pretty recently, right?
Well, actually, no, it got pushed back a little bit. So we were originally ahead of schedule while we were in the studio, which was cool. And then for whatever reason, we got pushed because of the record store day releases.
Oh,
so
right.
The mastering or whatever process took like a couple days longer than it was supposed to. And then all of those kind of snuck in underneath us. So it pushed us back. We were supposed to release it around January, and we didn't end up getting the actual records back in hand until early March. So we were supposed to have a record release show this month on April 9th at Opus with All the Humanity. And I was awake, but obviously that didn't happen. So here we are.
Do you guys have any shows in the books at all right now?
We have RPM Fest, but I don't know if we're technically allowed to talk about that yet. And I think that's the only one that hasn't gotten canceled.
It's September.
Knock on wood.
I'm not optimistic, I'm sorry to say.
Me neither.
It really hurts to actually say that I'm watching, as of today, both Newport Folk and Newport Jazz Fest canceled, which are huge, huge events and super fun. There's always something good to see. Both of those being canceled is just like that. Is like second to last nail in the coffin, I think, for live music this summer.
Yeah.
I know that a bunch of metal festivals in Europe canceled weeks ago.
Yep. All the big tours are done.
Yep. Yeah, I'm watching all these bands talk about how they waited to the very last minute to do up all their. There was a metal band that was going on tour. I forget who it was. I've read so much. But they waited to the very last minute to get all of their merch and stuff done. As soon as they paid and dropped the money to get their merch done, their tour was canceled.
Oh no.
That's the, like, we got hit at a pretty rough time. You know, we had the release show scheduled. We have the records in hand. We're all excited about this. And then all of a sudden, everything goes on hold. But I couldn't imagine being a band that was on tour. Like, you're just on the road, and you have a whole group of shows lined up one day, and then all of a sudden, go home.
Not only that, but like we're not relying on
right. This isn't
an income.
Exactly.
So we can't be too angry about the circumstance.
You're thinking about 6 or 8 or longer months for these bands that's all they had. Now they're forced to stay home with their families. Can you imagine that?
Not that, no.
So let's talk about it. You guys are really great at puns.
There were a lot of puns. Oh, that's terrible. So like the worst.
Out of all the talents I could have been born with, smashing words together that don't belong together.
Where did this come from? I think the last time I saw you, the last time I spoke to you guys when we did the live show together, you weren't really sure yet. Unless you were just telling me you weren't really sure yet.
Not really sure.
What was that on the title?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we actually decided on the title until we were like in the studio. But yeah, the title's Yule Orgy. So that's, consistent.
It's sort of like the idea of like, the good and the bad.
Right. Yeah.
The Marilyn and the Manson, so to speak.
So normally in terms of like song titles, because a lot of the song titles have like puns in them too. So like between me and Brian, we come up with them, and most of the time, like for me, they just, I love puns and I always try to squeeze them in whenever I can. It's like the dad jokes in me. I swear there's like a kid somewhere that I don't know I have, and so I have this ability. But I'll text them to Brian. He'll put them in the list.
Usually it's like conversations as we're driving home at shows.
Yeah.
Talk about random nonsense. And then Ryan will say something like, just keep that in mind. That's the song title.
We got to save that one.
We just
It's
riffing puns.
It's almost like we talk about all the time about starting a podcast about like driving home from shows, like just me and Brian in a car driving back.
We've had that. I've had that conversation with my friends before. The conversations that you have when you're just driving around.
Yeah.
Just, you put a CD in, and then you just sort of do your own review of the CD. We've done that before too. All these ideas just lost now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's the plan? I know that you have a very detailed plan for the release. So May 1st, this Friday.
Yes.
You're planning on doing a very limited release. Let's talk about it.
All right. So it's coming out on Sound Investment Records, and this is a pretty big deal for us and those guys.
I don't know a lot about them.
They just started the label. This is their first release. So
Excellent.
they take a huge risk on us, and so it's kind of equally in the point where like, this is all new to us too. So we're figuring out as we go along, and then this whole situation with the virus, threw a wrench and everything. But we're figuring it out together, and those dudes couldn't be better about this, and we're just trying to get creative. So, like I said, we're supposed to have the release on April 9th. And now that didn't happen, we're trying to think of ways to just keep that buzz going, but still holding something in reserve to do like a big show if and when we get the chance. Maybe we won't. Maybe we have to, come up with another idea soon. But for now, on Friday, we're releasing 50 copies of the record, the physical vinyl. It's going to have hand-numbered inserts. They're each going to have a special quarantine edition insert with all of our pictures and stuff on it, and masks and stuff.
Will you have a poster that folds out? Because I really like this.
I don't know if it's a full poster. It's at least 12 by 12. I'm not sure what the actual size is yet. Anybody who buys the record will be entered into a drawing to win the copy of the test press, which we only got 4 or 5 of those, and this is the only one that we're really going to put out into the mainstream. That is, like, the label has 2 copies of it. Brian and I each have one. This is the one that's going out to people. So this is going to be the only test press of the first run of the SkyTigers' first LP that's out there. So that should be exciting.
But people can say they know us before we got famous. Like they're like, this is before they got famous.
I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that I created you. Is that okay?
Rightly. We owe you a lot. All of last year was, I think it all piggybacked on Rumble. So
one thing, I know that we probably did talk about this the last time I saw you. Yeah, it was definitely after the Boston Music Awards. Where is your Boston Music Award right now?
It's in our practice space on a shelf.
That you can't go to?
That we can't go to. But we each took turns carrying it around with us for about a week. I brought it to work and showed everybody that, I'm not full of crap. When
you weren't lying.
Look, we're award winning.
That's right. Well, now you have to put that on everything now. You have to say, award winning,
It's funny because every now and again that will occur to me. Like, I'll be in the shower and like, I'm an award winning musician. How dumb is that?
Right. Everybody says that, and I know I've said it too. Awards don't matter, but it's sure good when you do win one.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's great when you get one.
Contest.
You get some bragging rights. Hell,
right.
Better than nothing, right?
Exactly.
What do you think is the prognosis for our live music? I'm watching everything sort of trickle in terms of other states, other regions, and I'm really getting so much contradictory information right now as to when we might be able to even resume like face-to-face meetings.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, hopeful that we'll eventually have like a big record release show. Whether or not that will be this year, who knows? With everything being canceled, with all these, sporadic information coming out from different areas, until everybody gets on the same page with this, I don't think it's going to be over. And that includes the individual states. We all have to have the same response. We all have to stay put and just figure it out. And until that happens, the public specter is still going to be closed off. We're not going to be able to have shows because nobody's going to take the risk. Mm-hmm. And, even if some of these states, partially open, and even if they are open to like the idea of having public events, who's going to want to go?
Yeah.
Right. Unless we have a definitive answer.
Well, we have so many different sort of points of view on it. I know that we have the people that, I mean, I remember when this really started to ramp up for us locally. I had a show like March 13th in Manchester, New Hampshire, and we called it thinking, I think this is the right thing to do, but I know people are going to be mad at us for doing this.
We had a show, I think it was March 15th. It was the week of St. Patrick's Day. We actually had the 15th and the 17th. And I had a doctor's appointment on the Friday before the show. It was on a Sunday. And I asked my doctor, because I have immune system issues. I have a selective IgM deficiency is what it's called. And I asked him, I'm like, should I be concerned? Like you said, that was right around the time where they were just starting to see like the seriousness of this.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me, he's like, I don't know too much about it right now. And then he looked at my chart and everything. He's like, you know what, if you do have to go out, wear a mask. It's probably best if you just don't be in public space, don't be in crowds. So we had to cancel that show. And at least one of the bands was upset about it and tried to call us out on it. And I'm like, this isn't something that I'm willing to take a risk on. And then that week, everything was, so we were jumping the gun or anything. And I felt bad because we wanted to play the show. I hate canceling shows. I think the only other 2 shows we canceled, that was in the emergency room.
Fair enough. I saw that you guys did a quarantine video.
We tried. So
how'd it go?
we were trying to figure out a way that we could all stream it together and do it, but there were weird latency issues with our systems, and we're not, we don't have sophisticated setups in our apartments and homes and everything. So we just kind of recorded us playing to a lot of the recording and put it up because it was funny the way it came out. But that's our quarantine video. Oh, Jay left.
He's not wearing pants.
So yeah, it's not technically something we recorded during the quarantine, but we tried and then gave our best effort.
I find that as this continues on, what are we on, day like 756? No, if I had to count, probably like
what year is it?
Like 45, day 45 maybe. You're finding that a lot more of this technology is starting to roll out that people must have been sitting on. Like, I think it's a really great idea if we come up with some sort of platform where people can play together in different places, but it all can look like they're playing together, like actually together. And I see some of the stuff starting to roll out. Maybe it existed and I didn't know about it, because why would we use it? Because we go out and see shows, right?
Right, exactly.
So the logistics behind that are like almost impossible. It's basic, like you couldn't play with someone online to and have it be in sync. The only way you could do it is if you individually played and then the software kind of fixed it in post, sort of thing. And that's sort of what we discovered. And it's I think a lot of people have like thought of doing that. I remember like years ago trying, like not actually trying it, but thinking about doing it with like a the kind of a webcam thing. But it's basically unless you have like a direct like crazy connection to like someone else's house, then you just there's latency that you can't avoid.
Yeah, you'd never be able to do it live, but I think a lot of the bands that you're seeing that are doing it are recording individual pieces in their place and then just together. Like Goldfinger did a really good one.
Goldfinger?
Yeah, their video is really good.
The one that comes to mind is Joan Jett.
Oh, did she do one?
Yeah.
Post Malone did well.
You did the Nirvana cover.
You did one, cool. But that was really cool. It was
Malone, so I didn't watch it.
That was in his house though. Like it was in someone's house. It was just
over an hour of just Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Like I didn't know.
I guess I'm kind of scared to watch it. I don't know why.
You might like it. Are you scared because you might like it?
I've heard.
I probably will. I will like it. I guarantee.
You're scared that you're attracted to Post Malone
and Blood one first.
I'm afraid I'm gonna want to get something tattooed on my face if I like it.
Free money.
Seriously, during all this, tattoos don't matter anymore.
Look I didn't even do my hair for this.
I mean, I've technically attended court in a cutoff T-shirt and basketball shorts this month, so
yeah.
It's all video court, right?
Telephonic mostly.
Right. And that's nothing new, right? I mean, they've done that. They've been doing that forever, right?
Yeah. A lot of the courts in Mass aren't really set up to do like visual stuff yet. Some of them are. The new judicial buildings are, like the one in Lawrence, the one down in Plymouth is. But like the courthouse out in Springfield, they can only have one attorney on each line and then the judge on the line. They can't accommodate people on a telephonic hearing. So video's kind of out.
You would think that they would catch up. Although, a lot of those buildings are still from like the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
Lowell just got a new one, I guess.
I was actually, last year, I tried a case in the Norfolk Superior Court. And it was the same courtroom where they did the Sacco and Vanzetti trial. And while we were waiting for the judge to come out, he showed us the metal pocket doors that they had to install to keep the anarchists from throwing bombs into the courthouse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That's fascinating.
They're like, we left them up just in case.
No, they did. They're still up because it's the same building.
They went through all the trouble. You never know when you might need it again. That's cool.
Who knows?
So, how has this quarantine, has this shutdown made you feel more creative at all?
Yeah, I think so. The beginning was real rough. The first couple of weeks, I was just going nuts, stir crazy. But then I decided that I'm just gonna play guitar for every hour that I'm not doing something. And so I'm pretty much shredding like Eddie Van Halen. So I'll forget everything I've learned by the time this is over. But
Anybody making a solo record?
Shreddy Van Halen. That's my new name.
Oh man, I'm trying.
All you got is time. That's what I keep saying. All we have is time.
I did order more guitars.
What'd you do?
I feel like I need like an online manager still, just to get something productive out. I'm like,
I had to sort of reevaluate. I had to sort of plan out my days a little bit more lately because I just felt like for a little while there, if I got one thing accomplished in a day, I was really proud of myself. But it's like kind of a challenge and up the ante a little bit. Maybe two things a day.
yeah, that's the tough part right there.
A lot of discipline is needed in times like this. It's like a permanent weekend.
And you're like, what do you hold yourself accountable for, during these times?
One day just blends into the next. I honestly did not remember what day today was.
That's happened to me a couple times.
Same here today.
I look forward to getting up in the morning and drinking coffee and then filling time in between. Of course, I have dogs. I play with my dogs. I do, whatever. And then I look forward to having my cup of hot chocolate at night. I am like now a 75-year-old woman.
Yeah, I can tell that coffee tastes a lot better now that we've been quarantined. I don't know what it is, but I've never.
People run on being at home. They don't run on Dunkin's anymore.
No, I have not been to a Dunkin' Donuts or a drive-through, which is bizarre, since this thing happened. I haven't gone out at all, not through a drive-through, that's for sure. What do you miss the most? What do you miss the most about society?
Shows. It's killing me not playing music, or just playing with these guys. Like
I practice, even just practicing.
Yeah.
This whole scenario makes you question your own introversy. Like, you're like, I used to hate going out. Now I have to go. Now I really need to go out.
Yeah, going out by myself used to be a nightmare. Like, going to a show by myself would just send me into a panic attack thinking about it. And now I'm like, I will go to every show that's scheduled.
Yeah,
you know what's funny?
It's a comfort zone killer in a way, in a good way.
I've never so when Brian talks about like going out and having a panic attack around strangers, like that's never really bothered me. But now that and I'm mostly an introvert, but I have like extrovert tendencies. But now that this whole like quarantine,
you're like an ISFNPQX. Wow,
I don't know what I am, but like just going out in public and just like everyone's wearing masks and like I just have there's this little spark of fear that like you're just like a stranger danger, right? And it's just like I'm kind of like I find myself getting that if I go food shopping. I'm like, oh my god, I now I know what Brian's talking about. It's a little bit of a like panicky thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm stuck in this building with these strangers, and they're all
so it's like
wearing masks.
It's making us crazy people normal, and it's making normal people feel like how we felt. This is crazy. This is not,
yeah.
I don't know. We gotta fix this.
Trying to have even just like a pleasantry with somebody. Like if you're, I mean, if I'm in a grocery store and I don't know, sometimes your eyes meet with somebody, you just give somebody like a smile or a nod. There's no way anybody can really tell you're giving them a friendly smile anymore. You can't have casual conversation with anybody. Not like I'm like the chatty Cathy that runs my mouth at the cash register, but sometimes you want to be like, yeah, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah. You can't give anyone like the "what are you doing later" like eyes.
Nope. No, none of that. That's
Wait,
out.
how do you do that, Ryan? No, don't show us, please.
I don't want to teach you my secrets.
It's
hard to do with it's hard to do with a mask on. That's all it is.
Exactly. Me, it just looks like you're glaring at them.
They call it the hairy eye, which I think it sounds disgusting.
The hairy eye. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Oh, the hairy eyeball.
My teachers used to say that.
It's like, wouldn't it hurt? I'd be blinking too much. You know?
So Yule Orgy, clever. I got the first song off it, Angel of Debt. That goes out to all of us. That's our generation, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
Are we going to be able to get it written off?
Ugh. Not
the L the L purchase.
Not anytime soon.
Inspired by the lives that we now live.
Brian, are you writing a song yet about this whole pandemic situation?
I have so many riffs you guys don't even know.
No, lyrics. I mean lyrics.
Oh, lyrics?
Probably lyrics and riffs.
Fine. After this summer, I'm gonna be able to crank out lyrics like you read about.
Yeah.
I've always taken a lot of time writing my lyrics, just because I don't know. I like them to make sense. I like them to actually tell a story with nothing extra, just to fill space. And I don't know. I like to be as close to being grammatically correct as I can, as weird as that sounds. And this summer I couldn't do that. I mean, I was literally finishing up lyrics in the studio, which was stressing me out to no end. And now I feel like, man, if I could do it then, do it all the time. But yeah, that was tough. I think that was the toughest thing about this record, for me at least.
Yeah, Brian, I wanted to talk to you about that word that you said wrong in the record.
Don't. I will find every copy of the record, destroy them.
There's no Oxford commas in the record though.
Oh, stop.
Sorry, I had to.
You know, there's an SJC decision from Massachusetts that overturned a verdict on a unpaid wages case, and it all
Because
came
of that?
for comma. It was a.
Oh no!
I despise those things.
It might actually be the U.S. Supreme Court. It was a dairy farm or a dairy producer, and it had to do with their union contract, and it had to do with whether or not workers get paid based on receive of X and Y or X comma and Y, and it ended up with like several $1 million judgment in favor of the workers.
Wow.
Yeah, all because of an Oxford comma.
That's going to definitely help me judge people on Tinder. Thank you.
I've never been on Tinder. Tell me about it.
Well,
Did you
there's
write a
lots
song
of
about
commas.
it yet?
I feel like every profile has said something about the Oxford comma.
Probably.
Really?
And I'm immediately okay. So let's get off the Tinder subject. But
There's a
Brian,
scene, huh?
I want to write a song based off lyrics. That would be actually.
So what's the plan for? So you're going to release 50 copies of the record. How do people get them? They buy them only on Friday?
So the 50 copies are available through the Sound Investment Records Bandcamp, which that will go live on Friday. So we have the link, but we're not really posting it because we don't want people to go to the link and be like, hey, there's nothing working here. Anyways, it'll be up on Friday.
It already happened.
The 50 copies of the record will stay up. Those are up until they're gone. If they go on Friday, then they're gone. If they're, only 10 people buy them, they'll stay up in perpetuity. On Friday, you'll also be able to download the record. You can purchase the digital download. So if you're not a vinyl person, if you don't have the record, anybody that buys the record will also get a digital copy, obviously. The digital download will only be up on Friday. So after Friday, you can stream the album through our Bandcamp, but you won't be able to actually download it. And it's not going to be up on Spotify or Apple Music until the whole full release, just because we don't want to take away from the vinyl sales. And we don't want to spoil the surprise too much for the people at large. we want a select handful of people to hear this and help spread the buzz about it and tell people how great a record is, and then have the rest of the people have to wait.
Are you aware that Bandcamp is doing
Oh, we're aware. Yeah.
the first Fridays for the next 3 months, Bandcamp is doing 100% proceeds back to the artists.
Yep.
Good
So who
plan.
knows? Maybe we'll release it in chunks, May, June, July.
Put something out again in June and July.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you guys got to hop. You've got other people to talk to.
We do, yeah.
You're very busy these days.
I know. I feel like I'm busier now that I'm confined to my home than I've ever been, and it's all through the internet, which is great.
You got to plan out every minute of how you're going to live a life of leisure. That's sort of how I feel right now, and it sounds obnoxious to say that, but I'm not working hard. Let's put it that way.
Well, like I said, I'm working and I have like my rigid work schedule. Like I work 9:30 to 5 usually, and then I have conference calls during the day, and I do my writing and stuff. And then at the end of the day, it's just like I punch out. Then I get to relax. If I didn't have that structure, I feel like I'd just be floating adrift. I'd never sleep. I'd be awake for days on end. Who knows if I'd eat?
Are you all working and doing these Zoom meetings regularly too?
I'm not.
I'm not working at all.
I'm working. I'm actually going into the office every day.
Really?
Yeah.
There are only a few in there?
Yeah. We've been limiting the number of people going in.
Wise. Do you feel like you prefer it that way? Do you like that idea of going in every day?
Yeah, I mean the two options are I think of like working, I started off working from home every day and then going into the office like one day a week, and then it started like trickling into going in every day. And the one takeaway that I have is I'm way more productive when I'm working from home. As weird as that sounds, is just like, for an office of, I work with robotics, so a lot of stuff is hands-on. And so I'll be there and I'll have the rest of the company messaging me to take care of something that they can't take care of because they're not there. So I'm like, I got my list of things to do, and then everyone's like, hey, can you quickly do this thing? And I'm like, Jesus Christ. it's nuts. But it's been eye-opening for me, learning how productive I am, like working at home with no distractions.
I'm full of distractions. All day long I'm interrupted. Dogs.
Yeah, I was gonna say dogs, right? I don't have any pets, so it's nothing to like tell me to feed it.
I don't know how people have little kids living like this. They must be going out of their minds.
Oh my God.
Too much. Let's not make fun of those people too much. So Yule Orgy, special release Friday, May 1st. Bandcamp release for that day and that day only. And 50 copies of the record. So first come, first served.
Yep. That's it.
All right. And the record label, Sound Investment Records. I don't know anything about them, but I'm looking forward to learning more. Where are they based?
It's so they're based out of the North Shore area. It's two dudes, Jeff Rowe and Paul Pacillo. They are actually in the band Tied to a Bear. We met them like a year and a half ago. We ended up on a show with them right around Christmas time in Salem, and they, heard us. They liked it, and they were surprised that we hadn't put anything out. And they said, this might be something that we can take care of for you. They've been in the music scene for decades. They've been in tons of bands, and they've been all over the place. And they've always wanted to start a record label, but they could never agree on a band that really like sparked them to make that jump. Until they saw us, I guess. So, they approached us about it, and we're like, yeah, sure, because we'd never probably put out another record. We're way too lazy. We just start recording, then maybe finish it in 10 years. So with that push behind us, we put out the full length. They covered the cost of the vinyl, and we're just going to see where it goes. And Sound Investment Records is probably the funniest name they could have came up with, because it's just such a dad thing.
We approved of it.
We
I like it.
I went from being like, what's wrong with these guys, to like, okay, I understand what's going on.
Yeah, at first we were like, wait, why us?
I love the name. It's fine.
Because you're award winners.
and their story is a little more just more. It's funnier than the way Brian explained it. It's kind of like the way that they explain it is they don't agree on anything. They almost have zero similar music tastes. Like it's like a Venn diagram. It's like two circles that are barely touching, and then they so for the longest time they've been talking to each other about this. They know that they both wanted to start a label and get a band on it and stuff like that, and they just never agreed on it. And they played the show with us, and then they both just like turned to each other, and they knew they looked at each other in the eyes, and they said, "Wow, did we just agree on something?" So their Venn diagram of musical interests, that little tiny sliver where they overlap is
it's you,
SkyTigers, where it's written vertical in very small font.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
well, thank you, SkyTigers, for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for carving out time in your day.
I'm very busy.
Last time I was 2 a.m, so this is better.
Yeah.
It's
right.
the time slot.
And there's no heavy lifting in this interview. There's
Yeah.
no heavy lifting this time.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That hurts me to tell people that there's things like the stairs.
We're gonna go back to playing shows and not be able to lift our equipment.
Yeah, seriously.
We're all gonna be like rubber arms, right? Although no, I've been exercising. That's why my hair's still wet. It's my story.
I have not.
It's my story. Well, thank you. I wish you well. I will prep this and have it ready for Friday.
Awesome.
Friday, May 1st. There'll be a new Boston Emissions Friday the 1st, and we'll debut the brand new number.
Nice.
All right. Cool. Safe travels if you go anywhere. Otherwise, stay at home.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Boston
Take care.
Emissions with Angel Wood.